Well, well, well. Good morning, lads, lasses, and you non-binary folk. How are we all feeling this morning, eh? Feeling chipper? Feeling spry? Feeling ready to cry? I don't know why I decided to go with that rhyme. What a depressing rhyme to go with. But yes. Hello, hello, hello. Ooh, hello. I feel like I'm about to start one of my English classes. Hello, good morning everyone. How are you? There you go. Yes, the pocket bread, yes. You know, I wanted to have a sandwich, but I don't know, I was gonna go with that bread. I was gonna try and figure out a pun, and I am far too tired to think of a pun. Ooh, baby, I've been tired. Ooh. Ah, yes, the pocket bread. The ideal situation. The bread of one's front left pocket. It's like those pocket squares they use for nice weddings and stuff, so you match like the bridesmaid or your... Oh, why have I forgotten the word? The sort of bouquet of flowers you can wear. I've suddenly forgotten the word for it. It's French, that's probably why. It's like that, except it's just bread and edible. Much more flexible, I'd like to say. The pocket square is so useless. You can't eat it. The best you can do is, like, wave it around, like, oh, like a little handkerchief. But pocket bread, oh. Sandwich and tea, what a lunch. Sandwich, tea, and pancakes, thank you very much. There are pancakes in the back there. There are pancakes in the back there. I'd have you know, eh? I'll have you know. Sandwich. I've got myself a beautiful tuna sandwich, lettuce, and egg sandwich. Before you ask, no, I did not make them. I did not make them. I grabbed them from the 7-Eleven. I did have some bread that I made yesterday. Sandwiches that I made yesterday. And dinner that I made yesterday. But not today, because I ran out of bread. Because this country is a nightmare. Where for some reason you can only buy 8-piece loaves of bread. I do not know why. I cannot buy more than... 8 loaf pieces of bread, these like half loaves of bread. Where is my large block of dough that has been baked for a long time? Where is it? Why can't I purchase a single large piece of dough? Hell, just give me the dough, I'll cook it myself. Seriously, I just want to be able to have bread consistently without having to go to the store every single day. And the strangest thing is, Japanese bread, rather worryingly, never goes off. There are some brands of Japanese bread that bloody never die. Got more immortal than I am. Bastards have somehow made a deal with some sort of spirit. The kami. The bread doesn't go off. It doesn't rot. Which, makes you worry what's in the bread. But point is, you have this bread that doesn't go off, but then it's in tiny loaves of 8 goddamn pieces. Also, there's no variety. Good luck to you if you want to get a sourdough, or an Italian bread, or a rye bread, or a whole grain bread. You got white bread and milk bread, or milk pain, or whatever it's called. You got white bread and milk bread, and they're all both kind of weirdly sweet. Oh, and sometimes you get cocoa bread, but it's more of a cake. Point is, stuff's mad. Absolutely mad, I tell you. Hellish, sometimes. It's a good thing I like rice. It's a good thing I like Japanese sushi rice, or the sort of sticky short grain that Japan is known for, because otherwise I'd be suffering. The worst part is I have to go to get any bread that I sort of like and can use more than like 2 days. I have to go all the way to the nearby capital city of my prefecture. Nearby capital city. It's a strong word. Nearer now I've got a car, I suppose. It's much easier to drive to, but the thing about Japanese cities is the moment you get anywhere with a sort of city feeling to it, it's practically impossible to find a park. Land's at a premium in this goddamn country. And I do not earn that much. Beautiful. By the way, the tea today is my wonderful favourite tea. The smoked red gum. I'm almost out of it. Probably a couple more pots, and that'll be the end of that tea. It's a shame. I wonder when I'll get back to Australia to buy some more. Why is Galgura trending on Twitter again? She's always trending on Twitter. But yes, no, it's been good. It's been good, though. How's everyone else been? Everyone else been having a good time? Everyone else been having a good time? Talk and talk. Alright. I'm just posting the Twitter post. I don't know why I bother, to be honest. I don't know why I bother. Why does one bother in a land without bread? Truly. A mystery no one knows. A mystery nobody knows. But yes, I have been tired. The thing is, I think I'm just getting into one of those moods. I feel like I've been in a mood since the end of summer vacation, to be honest. How much bread could you get in Australia? I could get all the bread in Australia. Christ, I could go to a normal supermarket and get them such a selection of bread, it would make the... Who originally made bread? I don't know. The Romans blush. It would make the whole disciples weep openly. But there was not just unleavened bread, there was leavened bread. It is absolutely mad how much bread you could get in Australia. All the bread. And then you have the actual bakeries. And you get pizza bread, French bread. You could get your baguettes, your croquettes, your some other vague French fancy word. You could get various Italian breads. You could get a brioche. You could get a bread with olives in it, or a bread with raisins in it, or a bread with the spirits of the damned in it. You could get a bread that would come out and punch you in the face. You could get a bread that was brought to you by a kangaroo. You get a bread that was like a pastry, where it was like a pastry that wrapped around a sausage that wrapped around something else. You get a meat pie. You get a not meat pie. You could get an impossible pie, which isn't actually a vegetarian pie or a vegan pie in this case. Sometimes if you got the impossible pie, you would bite into it and the secrets of the universe would come spilling out. You know, truly the impossible pie. You would have all the pies, all the bread. You'd have rye bread, you know, malt bread, you'd have beer bread, you'd have Vegemite bread, you'd have every bread under the sun. It's amazing. And I missed them, and they would come in such large portions. What makes that pie impossible? Well, when you bit into it, you would suddenly know things you shouldn't know. You would be given secrets to answers that didn't exist. You would suddenly ascend to a higher plane of being, but only in the moment you bit onto the impossible pie. And then you would return to normal baseline humanity, and wonder where you actually were and when you found that bakery again. But you'll never find the bakery again. The impossible pie is, after all, impossible. But if you really need to know, you have to go down Balunga Street in the old suburb of Wollonganga, and take a left at the herd of kangaroo. And after you take a left at the herd of kangaroo, one of them will stop you, and he will ask you 4 questions, not 3 this time, 4 questions. And you do need to get 3 of them right, but you can get the 4th one wrong. However, if you do get the 4th one wrong from the magical kangaroo, he will attempt to be more vague and make your trip to the bakery with the impossible pie much more difficult. So, after you answer the questions 4 or the questions 3 correctly, he will give you some sort of vague directions, heading probably left, right, left, right, left, left, 2 rights, up, down, A, B, start. And if you got 3 questions right, it'll be a lot less helpful. He'll probably say, in the general direction of the setting sun, or toward the feeling of home and family, or to swim beneath the ocean as to walk on the sky, sort of thing. And then he will bounce away, and his whole herd will eye you suspiciously. But if you got all of them right, the whole herd will run alongside you majestically as you wander through the suburb streets of Wallangala, and eventually you'll go past a bakery called the One Bakery. I would suggest not going to that bakery. They do have an impossible pie, but rather disappointingly, it just makes vegan faux meat and tofu. Impossible in some ways, I suppose, but it's not the pie you're looking for. So you need to go past that bakery, and then you need to go past the mysterious Colesworth. Now, this is not a Woolworths or a Coles, it is Colesworth. It is a vision of the future where, instead of having a duopoly, we now just have a monopoly, and occasionally this seeps into our reality. It's a whole thing. Just avoid the workers, don't make eye contact, and for the love of God, if you do go shopping there, make sure you put your goddamn trolley away. Because otherwise the workers will hunt you down and kill you. These days, though, in that magical monopoly world, they don't have actual workers anymore. They only have machines. Though rather ironically, those machines have started buying from Colesworth, which means that they have to pay the machines so the machines can pay them. They made the machines, and now the machines want to pay Colesworth for stuff, and now, yeah, so essentially the giant monopoly supermarket in Australia in the future is going to become unable to be used by humans. It's a whole thing. By the way, bakery, impossible pie. Sorry, we're going on this journey. Let's keep going. After you go past the mysterious tear in time, you want to take a left, and there will be the bakery itself. Fairly simple, I'd say. And once you get into the bakery, the impossible pie isn't just on the menu. It's a bit of a secret menu thing, but he always has a few in the day, so you should get there early if you can. 2 days before the sun rises. It's probably how early you need to get there before, if you want to get something that's very popular. Sagoth the Great always likes himself a little bit of an impossible pie from the bakery of the impossible pie, which, by the way, is its name. It is the bakery of the impossible pie, but the impossible pie is not on the menu. Rather confusing, really, isn't it? But yes, you have to get there early, 2 days before the sun rises, and you get the bakery, and the bakery of the impossible pie, will likely have them in stock, maybe 1 or 2. Luckily, you don't even have to pay for them. He'll give them you for figuratively free. The price is impossible, as the pie is. I'm not going to tell you what the price is, because that would be no fun. You have to go find it yourself. And you may worry, but I'm not in Australia. How can I get to Wollonganga? The suburb of Wollonganga. Don't worry, it's out Whoop Whoop. So, if you need the impossible pie, don't worry. No matter where you are, you'll be able to find it out Whoop Whoop. Just keep driving towards the third sunset, you'll be fine. You'll get there to Wollonganga eventually. Just don't knock on any doors, cause any problems. or get arrested by the police. That'll never end well for you. And once you've eaten the impossible pie, had your secrets of the universe, step out of the bakery, turn 3 times, spit over your shoulder, and stare deeply into the eyes of the cat that's just appeared. The cat will then stare back into you, and if you're a good enough person of virtuous nature and haven't mistreated or done anything wrong while you've been in Wollonga, you can follow him back to your car. What if you don't have a car? Well, just start walking towards Whoop Whoop. Eventually you'll find it. Maybe the kangaroos will show you the way. What the hell was I talking about? I've forgotten what the hell I was talking about. Where do we go from there? What about bakeries and bread? What was I doing? Oh my goodness. What if I did do is making my eyes water and my nose run. I have been harmed by the story I just told. My goodness. I was possessed by the spirit of the bakery. Ugh. My eyes. They run. I can't catch them. Because I can't see. Get it? Because my eyes are running. They run. I wish these tears would stop racing on my face. But yes, otherwise, quite good. And I do miss bread. Good bread. I'll have to visit Australia sometime soon. I've got some travel plans this winter, which is the problem that I've been having. Not only that have I been having trouble deciding what kind of long-term game I want to play, I just know that 2 weeks from now I'm going to not be able to play for 3 weeks or something like that. Because of my travel plans of a winter vacation. So I have got a job that gives me vacation days. Beautiful. So, I have winter off. I do have winter off. So I'll be having to figure that out. Yes, point is, while I'm chatting, it's pretty good. I'm chatting away here because I can't decide what game I want to play eventually. Oh my goodness. Seriously, that whole rant about the impossible bakery has really drained my creative abilities all of a sudden. Really went into it too hard just then. My goodness. Yes, no. It has been an interesting few weeks, though. I've been having a good time with the new car, actually. Been driving around to a lot of different places, a lot of nature spots, which has been nice. Been able to catch a lot of events and nature things, and talk to a lot of friends. And today I'm actually, after this stream, I'll be heading out to another thing. A friend of mine wants to go to a natural history museum nearby. So, he used to work in the Grand Canyon in America. This friend of mine used to work at the Grand Canyon, sort of a amateur geologist sort of character. Used to help people out. A very fascinating guy. Real interesting fella, actually. This guy. He's exactly what I expect people to say when they say like rural American. He is like a wild man. He's got all this knowledge, and he keeps building it. So when he came to Japan, he did all this research and stuff. You know, he loves growing gardens and having farms. And when he was in America, he once said to me. So I asked, I was like, oh, what are when you're talking about different countries and comparing things, you kind of go into like prices. And I was chatting with him about vegetable prices and all that sort of stuff. And he's like, I couldn't really say. And I was like, oh yeah, what about meat? Do you know about the meat prices in America? In Australia, it was usually around this much. And we usually have a great selection of meat. Because we're talking about how Japan really doesn't have a big meat department in their supermarkets, along with their bread department. Being that both of those things are quite difficult to grow without the space. And so I commented, "Oh, mate, do you know how much the meat costs in America?" I couldn't say. And he's just like, "I couldn't tell you, mate." And I said, "Why?" And he's like, "Well, I just hunted deer. I never needed to buy my own meat." Which was a wild moment. You know, I know fellas who hunt, certainly, but often, most of the people I knew who hunted in Australia only did it out of, sort of necessity. Meaning, they weren't hunting the animals to eat most of the time, though they did often eat kangaroo. They were hunting because they were pests. So they would hunt pests on their land. And sometimes they would eat those pests, sometimes they wouldn't. Sometimes they'd just cut it up and feed it to the other animals. They'd make some meat for their dog that the dog could eat. Point is, people in Australia often didn't hunt to eat, they hunted to protect. A bit different. You know, hunt dingoes to protect the farm, or hunt kangaroos because they're a pest, or hunt the emus because they're a pest. So it was really fascinating to run into a guy, and I've run into them before, but, you know, working so closely and becoming such close friends with a person of that sort of nature sort of surprised me. It really did. My voice is quite high today, I've just realised. I'm all over the shop today, aren't I? But yeah, no, it was quite amazing when he just said, "I don't know what meat costs, because I just hunted it." God, where the hell did you live? Like, he worked in Death Valley, and the Grand Canyon, and he's an older fella, so he's had a fair few years under his belt, and I mentioned how I lived in I lived in West New South Wales, I lived in Central Queensland, I lived in North Queensland, Central Coast, Southeast Coast. I've lived in a lot of places too, and I was always adjacent to farmers. I was never a farmer myself. It's the price of growing up in a pastor's family. And I'm not talking about the Italian type. I live in Argentina, which is some kind of strange place. Certainly. Is hunting much of a thing in Argentina? I couldn't say I know all that much about Argentina, frankly. Is Argentina one of the ones that was colonized by the Spanish? Or was it the Portuguese that did? Portuguese? I can never remember. I'll admit, I can't remember how much about I know they have very good soccer teams. Kick their asses out, yes. I know that. I do know that. The 4th largest country in the Americas, and the 8th largest country in the world. I always forget how large Argentina is. Both tried to colonize us. Oh. There you go. Et union et liberté. In unity and freedom is your national motto. Do you have a sort of lingua franca or a de facto language? I could have sworn it was Spanish, wasn't it? Look at how big that is. Such a big country. Ooh. It goes so far south, too. Must be real cold. You're practically the closest country, if I remember correctly. I think the closest actual country to Antarctica might be Argentina. Or actually, it might be, Chile. On the bottom half there. It's hard to say, but the tip of Argentina is awful here. But if I started talking Spanish, you wouldn't understand at all. No, my Spanish is not exactly, fluent. Oh yes, you've got the Sandwich Islands. Ah, hilarious. The Sandwich Islands. Think Chile is closer? Yeah, it's just because Chile kind of like cups underneath for some reason. Sort of that archipelago sort of area down the bottom is cupped underneath. Couldn't quite the British out of those. And the Magellans and the Chilean Antarctica. Must be goddamn cold down there. No, they do have a lot of very, British-sounding names. Must be bloody cold down there. The Cape Horn Monument. Beautiful. But yes, so close to Antarctica. Right next to the Kalini Beach. And a place called Machu Picchu. That's very funny. There's the Machu Picchu base. Hilarious. Wow, the Great Wall Station. The Great Wall Station. A lot of bases along there. Quite close. Along the islands there. Fun stuff. Yes, Chile, Argentina. Yes, no, this friend of mine is quite the wild man. Nice geography lesson with me, yes. You know, there's a place called Adelaide. In the Rossio Research Base. I can't remember the Australian research. I assume it's south of... Where's the Australian Research Base again? I don't remember where it is. I don't remember where the Australian Research Base is again. Oh well. A fair few of them. But anyway. Yeah, no, Argentina, eh? I've not actually... You know, I've met a few Argentinians, but I've never actually, like, sort of known of it. I've been in a bar with an Argentinian once. Surprisingly, you don't see as many of them in Australia as you'd think. At least where I lived. Maybe in Sydney there'd be a lot, but you don't really see that many Argentinians. When you're out and about in Australia. At least in my experience, I haven't. I did always hear about Argentina in the news. And recently, a few times, it's turned up in the textbooks I use for English teaching. Which is quite interesting. Yes, geography. It's always fascinating thinking about the world. It's even more fascinating how old Eric hasn't really had much of an interest in many other countries other than Australia, China, and Japan. I've been very much a lover of the East, so to speak, in a strictly normal sense. The only nerd we know about. Yes. Fascinating, the world. Brazil, Argentina. Funny how both of you are always fighting over who's got the best soccer team. I know so many South Africans, though. It is absolutely insane how many South Africans I know in Australia. They're everywhere in Australia. It's mad. It's just mad how many South Africans I know of in Australia. How does this happen? Why are there so many South Africans? How does... Oh, we're gonna go start talking about current news, are we? Alright, I'm game. Let's go. Talking about Hollow? Sure, let's talk about Hollow Live. Maybe I should put Hollow Live in the description so I can use it. We're talking about Hollow Live. Oh, put Hollow Live in the description. I talked about Hollow Live for 15 minutes. But yes, yeah, sure. I'm game. It's interesting. What's everyone's take on the whole Hollow Live thing? I think last time we spoke about it. We may have spoken about it a bit, but I was playing. What else do you want to talk about? No. It's fine. I wasn't accusing you of anything. I just kind of forgot about the Hollow Live thing actually, for a moment. Yeah, give us. What is your opinion of the Hollow Live stuff? What's everyone's opinion of what's going on in Hollow Live? Do you think it's a bad omen, or do you think it's just a bump in the road? What's your opinion? Because I had the initial negative reaction. In fact, I actually watched the stream where Fauna announced it. I saw her announcement stream and I managed to catch it live. I listened to it live. I thought it was fascinating. Strange choice of word, rather inflammatory choice of words, I would have said. Don't know why she decided to go for that way of saying things, but, you know, never you mind, I suppose. Probably rather emotional. She even said she wrote it down, so I suspect they read it. So, yeah, read it. Bad omen because our shareholders are controlled. Talent's a bad discussion way to graduate. I did hear that, but I did also see they released the actual breakdown of who owns the shares, and only a very small amount of the whole company's shares. They seem to have only released a small amount of the company's shares to be purchased. So yes, there is shareholders now, but... And yes, I do imagine they will, and it will get worse. I'm not defending that it will get worse. But the shareholders currently have very little power. Currently. From what I saw of the... they did release the stocks. Cover... Corp... share... percentage... Let's cover corp. But from what he said it was quite low. From what it seemed, it was quite a low thing. But yes, it is tough though. Speaking of, moving to California, that isn't working for Sony. Yeah. That isn't working for Sony. Yeah, they are trying to start up a American branch, aren't they? Hololive. But yes, I could see why people are worried. People were worried it was the workload. But it seems that the talents still have a control of their workload. It's just that they overwork themselves. It's just strange. The Fauna thing seems to have thrown a real wrench in the works, because it seemed negative, but it may have been professional. May have been professional wording, which made everyone perceive it as extremely negative. I apologise for blowing my nose. But I could see the worry, though. 2 people so quickly, and quite a few people overall. You know, you've got, 5 or 6 people this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if another one happened this year, before the year is out. That's the thing. I could see what makes people worry. In my opinion, it's both an omen and a speed bump. I don't think we're yet to the point where the company is going to go downhill, but I think we can see what it may look like if it does. You know what I mean? It's not exactly... It's an omen, but it's not an omen for now. This isn't like a trend sort of thing. This is a bump in the road, but it's a sign of things to come, but I'd say another year or 2. I'd give it another year or 2 before it really goes nuts. Oh, wow. 25 yen per share. Maybe I should buy some shares in Cover Corp. Point is, it is a shame, though. It is a shame. You say all bubbles are meant to burst. I say all bubbles are meant to burst. All good things come to an end, but all bad things do too. Good things may die, but bad also goes the way of the dodo. That's the thing. Such is life, as I so like to say. I don't know how much I say that on stream, but it is something that is essentially my phrase. That and absolutely not are the 2 things everyone laughs when I say, because I say them all the time. It's my quote. My quote is such is life or absolutely not. Oh, yes, existential crisis. Yes, that's the thing. And that's the thing. Hololive was always going to go bad. It's not bad yet. I still think it's good. But it's always going to go bad. And honestly, I think the start maybe, we'll know when it goes bad, really goes bad, when Hollow Stars is cut off. it's already pretty unsupported from, at least from what the talents themselves don't say anything, I don't think, but the Hollow Stars fans, the fans of Hollow Stars, the male branch, do feel as if Hollow Stars is not at all supported. So, I think the real sign of something going terribly wrong will be when they just cut off with no warning. If they suddenly just close the whole of the Hollow Stars branch. That's when I'll think, oh dear. They're either struggling for money, they are now doing that thing where they're not struggling for money, but they're still profit forward, where they'll just cut off what they perceive as the dead weight. They'll fire a heap of employees, cut off a heap of things. The beginning of the end will be when Guru gets out. Yes, that is true. However, she seems pretty okay. She has had a few breaks recently, and I do suspect they may be willing to fold to her more than other talents due to her truly prodigious effect she has on the company. So truly prodigious abilities as an entertainer. Rather fascinatingly though. Oh dear. My eye is so itchy. It's suddenly itchy. But rather fascinatingly though. Everyone thinks that she's the next person to leave. That's the thing. Everyone's thinking that Guru is going to be the next talent to announce her graduation. So, never know, maybe it will come quicker than I thought. And anyway, this company never expected to last this long itself, to be entirely honest. I'm shocked this country lasted this long. It made its own industry. But now the sort of industry's caught up with cover. You know, there's a lot of talent that are indies that are quite successful. You know, the market seems to be very much more friendlier to indies these days. Perhaps because people are scared of companies. Again, if I got the chance, I'd still probably give a go, I'd probably still give a go to a... I'd probably still give a go to a... You know... What was I trying to think of? I'd still give a go to, you know, working for that company, even if it was collapsing. I've worked for shitter companies. The thing is, although I won't be able to work for cover, only because I don't think they want to hire another generation of guys. People are quite dooming about the Hollow Stars, you know. I did take a bit of a trip down the Hollow Stars lane, because it was trending on Twitter for, you know, last week, because it seems that the sort of New Year's celebrations, essentially, they're not going to be much official New Year's celebrations for Hollow Stars, like the company-supported celebrations. You know, no countdowns or anything like that. And it's very tragic. I understand what people say. Essentially, they're getting... I did hear a hilarious comment. Hollow Stars is getting WNBA'd. It's getting a women's NBA, where, because it isn't... Nobody can quite tell... Like, it is less popular. That is generally known. In Hollow Corp, women... The female talents are more popular than the male talents. And a lot of people say, some people will rather disingenuously say that that is because the male talents are of a lesser quality than the female talents. Don't know if that's true, but one person was like, in Hollow Stars, there's like 5 people, maybe 6 that knew how to hold an audience. And 2 of them have left the company. And I was like, oof. Rough. That's what they did just say. I just come in here. You're on the same thoughts as this guy. There were 6 people who could you had to get and hold an audience, and they have left 2 of them have left the company. So, rather disingenuous, I feel. But maybe it is true, I can't say. It just doesn't feel right, you know? Hololive is usually Cover is usually so good at choosing talent. I just find it hard to believe that the Hollow Stars are untalented. No. But it is true that I see them far less. But the whole idea is, God, this GI. Very annoying. I hate when this happens. Why is it always when I sit down for stream I have random allergic reactions? It's like there's a bloody roulette wheel every time I sit down for stream. Must have got something in my eye, probably. Yeah. Alright, anyway. So the thing with Hollow Stars is, I really do wonder about it sometimes, though. Because, of course, it always has had less resources available to it than Hololive. You know, they've always had less resources, even at the start. They were a passion project of Yago himself. And without his support, it's likely they would have never existed in the first place. So, it's really no surprise there's no resources for them. But then, of course, with less resources, people are probably less motivated. I'll admit, I work for a company right now. I will not mention their name, but if you know how to get a job as an English teacher, I got the job because I knew a guy who worked in the company. Doesn't mean it's a good company. I just know a guy who knew a guy who got me an easy job. Point is, these companies that you work for, these dispatch companies for English teaching, pay like nothing. And, therefore, most of their workers don't do good work. I'm gonna admit. Oh, hello, little Theo. Well, isn't the old bastard? Well, isn't the old Lord Theo? How are you doing? We're discussing the nature of funding, motivation, and money. And the sort of wonderful, nebulous world that creates where if you pay someone, well, at least the point I was about to make is if you pay someone very little, they're only going to work so hard. At least, that's my experience. Even if they say money's not a factor, money is a pretty big motivator. Like, if you're feeling like you can make, like, all power to the artist who does it for the love of the art. Most people aren't that sort of artist, or not 100% that sort of artist. It's sort of a spectrum. Is it true there's a job quitting agency in Japan? Yeah, yes there is. It is fascinating. It is such a funny thing. I want to quit. No. Hilarious. Funny that can happen. But yes, there is such thing as a job quitting agency. It's usually more for black companies in Tokyo and Osaka. Black companies, of course, well, they're rather obviously named that way. Black companies are bad companies. They've usually bound these people into illegal contracts, and when they try and quit, they send goons after them to pester them, or turn up at their house. It's a whole thing. So yes, job quitting agencies are a thing, because there are weird cult-like companies in this country, and they're very strange. Luckily, I work at a company that is for foreigners, so if I quit, they don't care. Actually, no. If I threaten to quit, they may care, because they actually like me. And they don't like many other people. You know, it's rare for them to get somebody that actually works well with them. I don't know if I work well with them, I just don't make problems. You know, I'm old enough to know how to get around a workplace, even if I can't speak the language. I know how to read the air, sometimes. And I know when you just ignore the air and act like yourself, because then everyone goes, oh wow, what a charming foreigner. Oh my goodness, he's so confident, charming, fun. And then they leave me alone. You gotta make your boundaries. Make your boundaries at work. Because then, especially in another country, because then they think, oh, that's just the culture of that country. And they're a lot more willing to forgive a lot of people. Because a lot of people are peacemakers. A lot of people don't like fighting. If you sort of make it a personality trait that you're of a certain country, you can usually get away with doing things differently. And they go, well, he's just from XYZ country. We can let him do what he wants. It's great. You're telling me there's a happy blue will probably fail at their job? Ludicrous. I know, right? And that's what I was thinking about with the Hollow Stars guys. I wonder if not a lot of them have side gigs or other jobs, so they're not able to put as much energy into, you know, the actual thing to make it a successful product. And there are a few did, and honestly, I think the Hollow Stars guys really, and it may be because they've been told off, or maybe because they don't feel they're worthy of it, but they really do need to do some more collaboration. It feels like the Hollow Stars guys have an easier time collaborating with many other people from other companies and other smaller smaller VTuber groups and random independent VTubers than they do, you know, collaborating with the same people in their own company. Like, I don't know if they've purposely put up that wall, but they started Hollow Stars afterwards, and it is of different things. It's only natural that's going to have less of an audience, but because it's had less of an audience, they haven't supported it as much. Because they haven't supported it as much, it's never going to grow an audience. Somebody did mention that they should try a different thing. They've tried too hard to have like the sort of Hololive but dudes sort of thing, where they're all kind of idly and fabulous and handsome, and I think that was the wrong choice. Honestly. It also doesn't help that the culture around male VTubers is very strange. The more I look into it, the more rather strange I find it. Other than the ones I watch. I have a bias, because all the ones that get suggested to me and the ones I watch of the males are sort of the exceptions to the rule. Like your Randons and that sort of thing. And within Hololive, your Roboroos and that sort of thing. Recently, Aaron, whatever his name is. Robert and Aaron. Those two I've been watching a lot of, and they seem to be quite fun and silly and different and willing to do stuff. But I don't know what the other ones really are like. If they are very, I'm hot boy or I'm boyfriend sort of stuff, that might be a problem, because I know that male VTubers, especially hot boy male VTubers with their nice voices, which I could never be, in before I have a boyfriend ASMR. I feel like if I did a boyfriend ASMR, there would be something legally wrong with that. I feel like I'd be able to be arrested if I made a boyfriend ASMR. I feel like that would count as some sort of harassment of that sort of kind. I feel like if I made an ASMR thing at all, it would be harassment, I think. I would be arrested for indecent harassment. I would love it. I'm sure he would. But that's an audience of one. It's not much of an audience. No offense to Panda. The suffering I would have to go through to make ASMR content would need to be worth it. That is one of the cases where money would be required. And it would still be a joke. I would never make it seriously. I'm taken. In those cases, there is always a price. I'll admit, I'm one of those people who is not going to say there isn't a price. You know, some people are like, I would never do something for money. But I'll admit, there's very little I wouldn't do for money. But that's just because I like money. But I recognize that it doesn't control your life. I save money in Japan, and hell, all of you guys are helping me save money because I stay home and don't go out, and I save money. And I was able to save to buy a car within a year and a half with a paycheck that's less than practically minimum wage in Japan, which is it's not, minimum wage in Japan is absurdly low, but far lower than the Australian. I'm definitely less than the Australian minimum wage, I'm pretty sure. Point is, I've managed to save money, and I like saving money. So the reason why I say there's not much I wouldn't do for money, because more money is nice. I'll admit, I'm very much a capitalist man. I like money. I like it makes things do things for me. I like how it makes things more convenient for me. I'm not going to say self-righteously that I don't need it or don't want it. I do want it. So I would make ASMR content for money. So if I worked for Hollow Stars, and this is my pitch to you, Hollow Stars managers, I will, if you pay me, do stuff. Pretty crazy stuff, I know. I will be willing to be compensated for the work I put in. That's all you have to do. Come to me with a contract right now, and I'm your man. Oh, I can't believe you left milk years ago and never returned. Ma'am, pretty hard to find the milk. Yeah, speak of the devil and he shall arrive. Yeah, sorry, Panda Knives. The milk I'm looking for is really annoyingly one of those really annoying specific milk. I've been sent on a quest for a really annoying specific type of milk. Which means that it's just taking years to find it, you know. Like they've, you know, Australia especially has such a range of types of milk. You've got full milk, half cream milk, you've got light milk, you've got skim milk, you've got AG3 milk, you've got 720p milk, you've got the milk of the damned, you've got the milk from goats, you've got the milk from cows, you've got the milk from unmentionables, you've got milk from this, that, and the other, you've got 3 green eggs and ham, you've got red milk, blue milk, green milk, brown milk, light red green milk, light red brown milk, light red blue milk, and you think it might be the colour, it's become light blue, but no, it just means less cream. You've got the milk from those weird aliens in the most recent movies of Star Wars. You've got all the kinds of milk, and I'm just having a hard time finding it, frankly. I went for milk, and I can't find the specific one the old ball and chain has asked me to get. Sorry, I'm just having a hard time. I'll be a few more years. Orange cream milk. Oh, sorry, Panda Knives. They're all out of the orange cream milk. I'll have to go to a different shop. Go find the milk aisle, which is always the furthest from the entrance. By the way, in Australia at least, they always put the milk the furthest from the entrance. Because it makes you walk through the whole store to get to the milk. Same with bread. Actually, one of the stores I worked at, the bread was closed. Excuse me, I'm gonna blow my nose. Point is, if I was paid enough, I would make ASMR content. It would physically harm me, and I couldn't do it too many times, but I would do it. Because there's nothing I'm not easily convinced. I am not so mighty a man to not be tempted by money. Like, I'd love to be here and give you sage advice about how money can't buy happiness. Because it can't, ultimately. It can't truly buy you happiness. Money alone will not make a man happy. So, you get a sense of composition, you get milk, yes. How many cocktails can be made with milk? You've got Kahlua milk, you've got White Russians, you've got a few of the milk cocktails I used to make, like the Irish cream cocktails, the shaken Irish balls, the fiery Irish nuts, which were both cocktails I made, which is why they have juvenile names, because I think it's funny. You've got the mudslide, I believe. Oh, that uses cream, not milk. You can use milk if you don't have cream. And in Japan, often they'll replace a lot of milk cocktails with a lot of cream cocktails with milk because cream is a pain in the ass and expensive to get. And a lot of miscellaneous cocktails, like just things you can add together. A lot of things can be mixed with milk. There's a lot of them. You've got... Does the grasshopper have milk in it? No, I think that might have cream. Cream and milk. Throwing any of the sort of things like Galliano, which is vanilla, creme de cacao, together with milk would do a good cocktail. Creme de menthe. Creme de menthe, by the way. M-E-N-T-H-E, creme de menthe. Not anything else. I'm going to be very careful about the pronunciation of that one. To make sure the N is in there. But yeah, there's a fair few cocktails that can be made with milk. I don't make as many these days. I still have a real soft spot for White Russians, though. I love them. I have to make them with milk instead of cream because I just don't want to buy cream in this country. But yeah, a lot of them. Mudslide is one of them. Irish coffee is another one. Yeah, not a fair few. Since buying the car, I've been saving money again. And now I have no money to buy cocktail stuff. Very sad. Though I did drink some wine recently. There's a local winery that I found. It's quite nice. The wine was good. Yeah, the Japanese wine is just very different than I remember Australian wine being. Australian wine was very good, but very different. I don't know if I prefer Japanese or Australian more. Problem is, wine always gives me such terrible... I feel like I always get such terrible heartburn after having wine. Actually, while I'm drinking wine, I have heartburn. It's really nice. It's rough stuff. But yes. Still got that cough, by the way. Just way less these days. The flux has released its grip on me. I no longer cough constantly. Just occasionally I have a productive cough. You know, as opposed to those non-productive coughs. I like my meetings like I like my coughs. Productive. Just funny, in most meetings, especially the company I'm working for right now, most of my meetings are unproductive. They're like knowing there's a heap of phlegm in your throat, and no matter how much you cough, it's stubborn and it doesn't move. My god, this company, its meetings are such a nightmare. They're so useless. They're lip service and foolishness. At least I don't have to do it once a month. Because really, the company I work for right now has such terrible meetings. Doesn't help that I work for a different... I work for a company, but also work for a school. So I'm under contract by a company, but that company is under contract with the Board of Education, and that Board of Education has given me a placement at a set of schools. Love the schools. Wonderful stuff. Great schools. Love them. Don't like my company that much. Alright, my friend wants to play Farm Sims. I was like, hell yeah. Very nice. Well, I'm gonna go to a natural history museum after this, and that'll probably have stuff about farms. And probably how the local area and mining destroyed most of them. But, you know, that's what natural history museum's about. Well, yeah, you have fun with your farming simulator? I too. Play some farming simulators. Have you been watching any money? Wow. Good God, J-Hank, you're really carrying this conversation. I feel bad. I feel like you're doing all the work in this conversation. I suddenly feel like one of those people on dating apps replying with one-word answers. Have you watched a new anime? Yes. Yes. And how's it been watching in Japan? Thanks. Doing my mod work. Good job, J-Hank. You're really keeping us alive here, aren't you? My god, what would I do without you? But no, speaking of your first question, I haven't been watching as much new anime in Japan. Mostly because it's harder to access. I have watched a few anime on Netflix. I did watch a few cartoons. Animated TV shows. I watched Arcane recently. That was good. Arcane was quite good. Thing is, actually, I feel like I've been watching mostly... Since I got to Japan, I don't think I've been watching much new stuff. I've been mostly watching things that I have already watched. I've been sort of watching comfort shows. But I did, on Netflix, watch... That's the one problem. Watching anime in Japan, one, you don't have access to Crunchyroll, which is both a blessing and a curse. Because, well, I do have access to it, because I have the power of VPN, but both a blessing and a curse. Crunchyroll not existing in Japan. I have occasionally caught some anime episodes on TV. Mostly because I've been trying to convince myself to watch it. Funnily enough, though, this is a crazy thing. I have a car, and the car has a navigation system. And for some reason, that navigation system is capable of connecting to the TV networks. I can sit in my car and watch Japanese TV. I can have, while I'm driving, just a TV on. You know, I was never one for those sort of little tablet things. You know, my nephews always wanted my sister to buy them. Get a car that had those, like, TV embedded in the back of the seats where the kids could watch movies and stuff. But why does my car, and it was a cheap car. This is a car from like 12, 15 years ago. Bro, no, that's what I thought too. What a distraction. They think they use bloody new stuff as a distraction. God, there's a whole ass TV in my car. I could just press a button and bam. TV channels. I could be watching all the anime. I could be watching One Piece as I barrel down the highway at 100 kilometers an hour. Barrel on the highway at 60 miles an hour. Watching, what's a magical girl show? Sailor Moon, or Petty-Cure. Or is it Pretty Cure? I always see it as Petty-Cure, which is just very funny to me. It's not a real cure, it's a petty cure. Just don't have pettiness. I believe it's supposed to be Pretty Cure. The big anime thing for young girls these days. I think my apartment's leaking. I have to deal with that. Probably left my tap on. But yes, point is, I could just watch TV in my car. And that's good, because I currently, when I got this new TV, because I watched it last year, a bit of the TV, but then I got a new TV, and I haven't connected it to the, because there's this whole thing you need to do to actually connect it to, this whole thing you need to do to actually connect the TV to the network, and I also keeps getting pestered by NHK. Can you play the PS2 in your car? I think there may actually be an HDMI cable somewhere in my car. So yes, I possibly could play the PlayStation 2 as long as I got an AV to HDMI converter. Sorry, talking about this in the car, but point is, I have been a bit bad, and I should be watching stuff in Japanese, and often I can't watch stuff in Japan, like Netflix or Amazon, because they don't have English subtitles. They'll have English subtitles in the preview when I'm looking at the anime on Netflix. I'm like, this looks interesting. That it will have Japanese subtitles only. I should just watch it. I should. I'm such a... I need to read more, and I need to... it's terrible. It's terrible stuff. I need to read more. I need to watch more. I need to do more immersion. Such a stubborn old bastard, aren't I? I'll get a lot better at Japanese that way. And, I know I need to do it, but... God, it's annoying, isn't it? I want to see a charger for you and the NHK guys. They'll send a charger. It's so hilarious. I accidentally turned on the TV once, and then like 2 days later, I got a bloody letter in the mail saying, "Oh, you better pay for your NHK." I'm like, Jesus Christ! I was under the impression I already was with. I thought that was already part of like the apartment complex's sort of comprehensive renting package. I was under the impression I was already paying for NHK, but apparently the problem is you can't tell if NHK, you do already have a contract for NHK, because they will send these sort of letters anyway. NHK is mad. They just constantly pester you to pay them, even if you are paying them. I think most of the company may still operate on I think most of the company may operate on switchboards and paper. They might still be using punch cards to put customer information in, because I swear, they can only tell someone who's watching, and I think they just go, that apartment's lighting up. We could check that he's on our records, but you know what, we're just going to send them a letter anyway. Apparently, NHK salesmen can be also quite pushy. Like, oh, let me in, and if you let them in, they'll never leave. Until you pay for something. Yeah, so I know you were there. But, They cannot actually stop you from using it. That's a funny thing. It's a bit like the the UK's national thing. Technically, it is illegal to use it and not pay for it, but as long as they're not able to get into your house and see that you're using it, they can't actually charge you for anything or chase you down for anything or set any debt collectors on you. Because technically it is free to watch. Point is, watching anime in Japan has its own problem. A lot of it is on Netflix and Amazon, but only in Japanese. Though I did recently watch one that had English subtitles. The Mononoke anime movie. By the way, this is my anime recommendation to all of you. It's the very bizarre series Mononoke. It is great. I love Mononoke. Probably one of my favorite anime series. It looks weird. It's so bizarre. Yeah, oh, you did watch Mononoke. It's got 12, doesn't it? Oh, you won't... I think there's 12, isn't there? As well? There's a 12, because you've got the original thing it started on, Samurai Tales, or whatever it is, the original thing where the character from the Mononoke anime appeared. That was the first thing, and then you've got the, yeah. At least it's using it on TV. Oh, or maybe they put some of the episodes together. It is true. So yeah, so recently, Mononoke got a movie. Let me pull up some pictures of it actually. Do I have any pictures that I'm not using? Image on. Okay. It's so good. I love this show. So yeah, the original TV series is this one. Mononoke, this is its poster. Look at that beautiful art style. And it looks like that, which is the most amazing thing, really. Is most of the anime looks like this bizarre art style. Great stuff. But yeah, so I think it was 12, the original series. The old 2006. Yeah, so you got the original one from the first actual thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, it's got 12 episodes, but they have been mixed. Yeah, like 12 episodes and 6 full lengths. Yeah, I think that may be it. Well, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 arcs. There are 5 arcs. With the longest being 3 episodes, I think, and the shortest being 2. So they may have just split it up into its arcs, or maybe split one of its arcs into 2. Who knows how they did it. Point is, that's why it was called Ayakashi, Samurai Horror Tales, where the medicine seller first turned up. Then, he got his own TV series, and they've just released a movie. Let me get the picture of the poster of the movie. The art style is still very similar, very colourful. They've decided to give him a bit of an update, though. He looks a bit different. Oh my god, this picture is huge. Jesus. Why is this picture so big? There he is. Whoa, the Mononoke guy. Yeah, there's the current movie poster of this movie. Only just discovered, though, there will be 2 more. They're planning to make 2 more movies. So essentially they're making another full season of the Mononoke series, but as movies. So instead of doing them as separate 20... Because originally it was released as 23-minute episodes, split up into various arcs. Hey, we're somewhere in the Bakineko arc. Yes, that was fascinating. I love how they jumped all the way into the Meiji era for that one. This movie has jumped back into the Edo period. And it's based in the harem. Based in the Oku. The harem of the Shogun or the Emperor? Can't remember. What is it? It's in the harem. Yeah, fun guy, look at him. So artsy, so silly, so weird. Truly, it is the pretentious man's anime, isn't it? Mononoke. But yeah, the movie's out, and it was on Netflix, if you want to watch it. There are some lingering questions, but the movie sort of does a lot with itself. The anime has spawned manga adaptations, 2 stage plays, and a film trilogy, with the first film in 24, the second in 25, and I assume the next one in 26. But that is hilarious. 2 stage plays? Really? My god, there is! 2 stage plays, that's spectacular. Maybe I should go see if I can watch that. A Mononoke stage play. Damn, they're resurrecting the franchise. It wasn't even a franchise, it was just a weird cult classic that's for some reason got a surge in population on it. Because I watched it years ago. Like, me and my nephews found this. My nephew found it, watched the first few episodes, he said, "This is great, you have to watch this, Uncle Eric." And I said, alright. So I watched this years ago. Years ago I watched this series. Along with when I watched Mushishi. Mushishi. Oh, it's this year! My god! There's a performance happening this year! I can go to the Tokyo Theatre. Well, it was this year. It was this year. Am I getting bored out of my mind? Yeah. It's a much more placated series, isn't it? Extremely beautiful, though. Another artistic series about ghosts. And a protagonist who is neither good nor bad. Sort of neutrally aligned protagonist. It's also extremely hard to tell what time period Mushishi is supposed to be in. Sometimes it practically seems post-apocalyptic in a strange way. But I know it's supposed to be based on probably something like Edo period Japan or earlier. It's hard to tell. Because he spends so much time in nature, because that's where the Mushi are in nature. So it makes no surprise that you don't really see much of cities in the series. Very bizarre, though. Very interesting. But it is much more of a, sort of low... Sort of... I use that she, the she for, like, expert or doctor or master. Mushishi. It's funny because the Mushi of Mushi is also the same kanji for insect, just 3 times. The kanji for insect, 3 times. And it has the same pronunciation as the kanji for insect, Mushi. Mushishi. Very bizarre series. Certainly, if you're younger, I'd say that Mononoke is much more eclectic, fun, crazy than Mushishi. That's not as a manga, though, I believe. It's a seinen manga, so it's an adult manga. It was supposed to be for adults. Or more adult men, like young men. but still men rather than boys, like shonen, seinen. Seinen is still youthful, but it is a bit more. Oh, it is based in Edo and Meiji, so it is about the same time often that old Mononoke is based. Maybe they're in the same world. Fascinating stuff. But no, that's what I watched recently, was that movie. I've actually watched a fair few Japanese horror movies since I've been here, actually. I watched a lot of the classics. I watched one called Inanaki Village, based on the Inanaku legend. I watched one called One Missed Call, which was quite good. In Japanese, I don't know what... In English, it's called One Missed Call. I don't know what's called in Japanese again. There's a whole flesh elevator. Really great stuff. Japan really love their folklore, and I love that about them. I am a sucker for folklore. You got a tiny town with like a legend about a weird rat creature in the river? I'm right there. I'm there for it. It's the stuff I like. Living culture shenanigans. I do love a bit of folklore. You know, I remember as a kid you make your own folklore. Have you watched Noroi? Noroi. It sounds familiar. I may have watched it. The Curse. What it means. Noroi. Did I watch Noroi? Was it one of the ones I did watch? The Curse. I watched a fair few. God. I watched this one. I watched Dark Water as well. No, I don't think I actually ended up watching Noroi. I wonder why. I've got it saved as something on my list of things to watch. It's on my list of things to watch. So... clearly I have considered watching it, but I don't think I've watched Noroi yet. The mask that the movie poster has on it does not seem familiar. I'll have to sit down and watch it. Might be fun. It's just a problem to find where to watch a lot of these films. That's the main problem. Finding where to watch a lot of these films. Finding where to watch a lot of these films can be a pain. Because they're all old. They don't often have a distributor anymore. It's a shame. There's another one I want to watch that's called Ie, or The House. It's apparently psychedelic horror, which is a bit weird. Another film that's not Japanese horror that I've been considering watching is The Lighthouse. You know, the one with, William Dafoe and... what's his name? The other guy. What's his name? I've forgotten his name entirely. But yeah, The Lighthouse. You totally watch that movie? The Lighthouse or The Curse? Robert Pattinson. That's it. Thank you. Thank you. Robert Pattinson. Both. Yes, it's been on my list for a long time. Since it came out, actually, The Lighthouse. I heard a lot of people talk about it, but I just haven't had the time to sit down and watch it. But The Lighthouse more. Ooh, my goodness. Bit of a fan, are you? That's another thing I love. I love that sort of particular lore. That's another good bit of folklore. Is the whole lighthouse keeper folklore. It's always so mysterious, so fun. You know, lighthouse local. Batman and Green Goblin adventures in a lighthouse with large beards and mustaches. And slowly go insane from all the mercury. But yes, no, I've always found that sort of stuff fascinating. Folklore, horror stories in that way, because, one, they just show a history, you know, there's a sort of history to them. An inherent history that they show. by their very existence, you know? An inherent history. That I can't get enough of. Ooh, that reminds me, I have to go pick up those things. An inherent history. And, you know, as a kid, you probably remember, as a kid, you made your own folklore. As a child, I had so many stories. Things I just made up. I remember once, I was a child, and I collapsed as a kid, and for the life of me these days, it was, you know, decades upon decades upon decades ago. I do not remember. I do not remember why I collapsed. Did I do it on purpose? Was I actually sick? Did I think I did it on purpose, but was actually sick? We don't know. It was one of those moments where I look back and I have no idea what I was thinking at the time. I remember pretending to stay asleep. I do remember that. I remember fainting in class, but I woke up pretty quickly and pretended to stay asleep. And after I got back from the hospital, and all my friends around me were like, oh my god, Eric. We're very young. This was like, we couldn't have been older than 10 at this point. It's like 50 years ago. They were like, oh my goodness, Eric, what happened? And I was a bit of a center of the attention, and I liked that. As a kid, I do remember just making things up about my sickness. I was just making things up. Like, I was just, you know, saying things. Oh yeah, when they took my blood, it had a mysterious color like I had never seen. I had like a super disease. And, you know, you just gotta like make things up. Like, oh, I got it from, you know, I got sick from this. I think children are the beginning of most folklore because I just made things up as a kid. You know, I was just saying that I had like some mysterious disease and oh wow, I was so special. I just made things up. I don't know why. Which is why I don't even know if I was actually sick, but I had to have been sick because they did put me in hospital. So, clearly somebody thought I was sick enough, but, you know, it was 50 years ago, who knows what they thought I was sick with. They probably thought I was still sick with the flux back then. I was kidding, but no. Point is, you know, they did all the normal tests, and I can't remember what I did or what happened, but man. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. I just lied as a kid. Or you would hear stories about a crazy man who lived in the woods, or a witch in the woods sort of thing. Or when you go on, like, camps as a kid, because I was part of Christian. I went on a lot of Christian camps as a kid. Hilariously, probably the most un-Christian places you could ever go is a Christian camp. People are just children, and, you know, children. Teenagers are a dangerous group of people to put in the woods by themselves. As you would probably expect, no matter how much they sing glorious God praise on high, teenagers in the woods, very little adult supervision, never a good time. Especially because the adult supervision are usually young adults who are like 20s themselves and just want to go drink. I don't know, I'm gonna go turn off that damn tap. It seems like it's getting worse. A moment. I could swear sometimes these damn things open themselves. Maybe I've got a ghost. Maybe I'm being haunted, guys. Maybe I can start some folklore right now. Point is, folklore's great. You've all got these stories. You know, as kids, I used to make all of these stories about ghosts and demons and monsters. And I would tell stories about heroes and demons. And, you know, I read a lot of fantasy, so knights and dragons. Me and my brother, I remember, were attached at the hip when we were young. We used to run around the streets. We used to play a lot with the neighborhood kids, too. I remember as a kid. We moved a lot, too, so it's kind of hard to make friends. But when we used to play, lots of games with the neighborhood kids. We played hide and seek with all the kids in our street. And we go to the nearby woods and tell heaps of stories. And we'd find something mysterious and make up this whole legend about it. We found this, pile of bottles. And, There's some mysterious guy who lives in the woods, and he looks like a giant kangaroo man. He looks like a bear, and drops from the trees. It's amazing, and I love that stuff. I love it so much. I'd love myself a bit of folklore. The ghost of the PS2 you left at home. Well, that was a few decades before the PS2 then, I'd say. But you get the point. It's just, well, it is, isn't it? Playing with the kids in there. Do people still do that? I don't know if that's still a thing. Do people go outside and play with people on the street anymore? I remember when I was younger, I had to hang out with everyone that was in our street, and my mother was not very kind to me when I said, "Oh, I want to stay and read my books. I want to sit and read my books," and my mother would be like, "No, you are going to go hang out with Gary from down the road." I'm like, "But Mom, I don't want to." But yes, I was a terrible child sometimes. Now everyone's now trapped inside PCs. I know. I teach kids as part of my job right now. Young kids, elementary school sort of thing, so aging from 5 to 12. And man, the one good thing about Japanese schools, I'll give them this. They're not functional in many ways, but they are functional in this way. Is, my God, they do not let kids have their phones. No phones in schools. Hell, I'm not even allowed to use my phone in school. And I'm a teacher. The only times I'm allowed to use my phone as a teacher is I'm allowed to use it to translate things from English. I am probably the only teacher in the school who gets to pull out his phone whenever he wants. I still don't because it feels awkward and weird. But often I'll only use it, and if I have a laptop nearby, I'll do the translation on the laptop or the electric whiteboard. But it's crazy. And you see no hide nor hair of phones in Japanese schools. It's very impressive. How do they do it? It's a mystery. Then, granted, I have not been in a high school. It may be different in high school. But I know that social media is still a big problem here, to be honest. Oh, speaking of social media, God, we should look that up. I don't want to talk about politics that much, but this is just too funny to talk about. Australia bans social media. There you go. Australia bans social media for people under 16. There is no way. Don't talk about politics, you try to get popular. No, but this is just funny. This is so funny. Look at this. A social media ban for under 16s. Like an actual law. This is Horitsu. This is law that they voted in. And they threatened, and the worst part is, they're like, we're not going to actually do anything to make this easier for you. It's on you, companies, to actually enforce this. So they've done this. And then they essentially have told companies, if you do not do this, we will start fining you. Which is an amazing way of approaching it. And frankly... Oh, the good thing, YouTube is not part of it. They can still watch me, guys. YouTube is not part of the ban. Like, I understand. To be honest, I get it. To me, social media is sort of poisonous. I don't like social media all that much, and I think it's rather bad for people. It can be very, very destructive. And no, I am already acting in sort of hypocrisy. It poisons the mind. I didn't want to say it, but yes, that is exactly what I was going to say. And I was talking to, because a teacher of mine that I work with, his original sort of study, his field, his interest. All these teachers seem to have like a vested interest in some area of study. But his vested interest is in sort of society, what they call shakai, sort of societal studies, like social studies. So he's very much a fan of international politics and the world. And he likes to keep up with, international politics. And so he sat down with me while we were eating lunch one day, and he said, "Oh, the ban in Australia." And I said, and we had a whole discussion about it where I commented that I thought it was a good idea, frankly. Love the idea. Wish more people would do it, frankly. Love the idea. Getting people off social media is a good idea. That's the thing. I think it's a good idea. However, I just don't have confidence a government can properly implement it. That's the problem. I don't think it's going to be successful because I don't trust the government to pull it off. That's the problem. I wish I could trust them to do it. I wish I could. But I just don't have any faith. I remember they tried to ban things earlier. They tried to ban certain sites in Australia earlier, a decade ago, and it never worked. Just trusting the powers that be. I'm a Labour man. I'm a Labour man through and through. Since birth. I'm a Labour man. I'm one of those rare older Labour people. I'm all for the low and the discredit. It's because I've never really gotten that high in companies. I think because I often moved between jobs most of my life, I never really got to the high heights of others, So I'm much a Labour man at heart. Had too many friends who worked at the low levels of companies, the grassroots, and I grew up in a family that was religious, yes, but our job was charity work and helping the lower man. We were all about grassroots. It was all about grassroots stuff, helping people that you can reach, helping the people in your community. And a lot of those people were your blue-collar and white-collar workers that are, low level. The people who suffer from addiction are rich people, but most of the time it's poor people. And I'm a Labour man through and through. Hey, we had some industrial action in Australia too. Woolworths, just before the start of the holiday rush, Woolworths' factories, some of its largest distribution centres, went on strike and completely blocked it all off. Woolworths had no stock to be able to put on their shelves because the distribution centres refused the stock. Great stuff. Turned out, I don't know how successful it's ended up being. I did hear they could reach an agreement where they would no longer be using AI to evaluate the performance of people in the warehouse. Insane. What a sentence. That's actually what started the strike, actually. Was they were planning to use an AI essentially an AI network of cameras. Like a network of cameras, essentially using AI to decide which workers were good workers. Wild stuff. And when they found that was going to be this sort of AI performance evaluation machine that was just going to put cameras everywhere and start judging them on all of their actions, they just went on strike. But they also went on strike to ask for a pay upgrade because not only were they asking them to do all this extra work and be more efficient, they also... That was a whole thing. Went on strike though, and it was successful. They have rescinded using the AI model. And, actually, what the actual thing they signed was, no worker can be punished for the speed at which they work, I believe is the... They cannot be punished for the speed at which they worked. Which does mean they can't deal with bad workers, I suppose. But it's only the speed at which they work, I suppose. So it was a whole thing, because that was the whole thing, is they were trying to force their workers to work harder, like the Amazon warehouse thing. Crazy stuff. Point is, industrial action. It was successful. They managed to repeal that. But that's insane. Cameras. I thought I worked in some factories that were awful with bosses that would stand up on the gantries and stare at you all day. That was their job, was to sit there and stare at you. The moment you would appear to sit down and relax for a bit, they'd be like, "Yeah, you bloody get up again, mate." Like, I've worked for some nasty bosses, but man, imagine turning that into a machine that can't even make rational judgments. Even some of the worst bosses I had in that sort of position usually had the ability to make rational decisions in extraneous situations. A machine's not. But the machine sees a person collapse and goes, yeah, they're not a good worker, are they? Sends a message up to upper management that says, sorry guys, this guy sucks. Crazy stuff. Mad. That they thought that was a good idea. Point is, it ended badly for them. It cost them a few $1 billion because they just essentially stopped production for madness. It is. But hey, they lost a lot of money because those distribution centers were pretty important. And they were not functional for like the last month. So a lot of Woolworths supermarkets had empty shelves because they could not distribute their products from the distribution centers. That's the problem. That's the problem with companies. They don't realize with their constant drive towards efficiency, they make themselves more vulnerable. The bigger and bigger distribution centers you make, the easier it becomes to completely destroy your network. Because they've been consolidating things from a lot of smaller things to one big, like a few big ones because it's cheaper to have one big, gigantic thing to service a large area and just a lot of trucks. But what if it burns down? What if it gets destroyed? What if it gets flooded? Then suddenly you've lost a massive area. If you had a lot of smaller warehouses, they'd be more expensive, certainly, but you'd be more robust. And I think they've discovered the problem of that. One distribution centre essentially shut down the whole state of New South Wales. As I went to the other side, you're only 18 and kill you. That's the problem with the internet. You can just lie. I know my nieces and nephews lied before, when MySpace and Facebook were popular, and they said, oh, you have to be over 13. I know my nieces and nephews lied through their teeth to get an early Facebook account or an early MySpace account. It's so easy to lie on the internet. Going back to the internet topic. Sorry, I'm going back and forth like madness here. Going all over the place. Point is, I'd love for them to be able to actually pull off this ban. Like I love every company to go on an industrial strike when everything goes wrong and when they want more money. But I just don't see it working. And all I see it doing is causing the companies that run these things to chuck a hissy fit and cause damage. That's the thing. They just gotta turn people against the government. And then the government will be even weaker and incapable of doing things. Like, I don't know if the government right now is any good, but I like them better than I like the last guys, who were a liberal, which are big company fellows. I like at least Labour's in power now. I just wish Labour would keep doing Labour things. I want them to make sure the Fair Work Commission is actually a Fair Work Commission. I want to make a federal ACAC. Like a corruption commission. Come on. That's what I want. I want the common man to have their power back. Publicize all these privatized industries. Get our power back from these goddamn public companies. Charge for our resources and our land. Sorry. Let the man be entitled to the work of his brow. Pointers. And that's the politics talk for today. I'm going to pause it there. No more politics talk. Well, the only politics part of that. Labour is not politics. We're all workers. That's not politics. It's reality. But this is not politics, but it is more Labour. And I don't know if I should say that, but you know the whole... Did you hear about that whole thing that happened this week in America? America's going mad. Life is a joke, we don't get paid. Yes. It's true. We don't get paid to live, no. But goddamn is living good sometimes. No, I'm talking about the good kind of mad. I should probably say that I support it, but... take down the proletariat. But yes, no, the sort of, good kind of mad. Kind of mad that scares rich people, which is my favourite kind of mad. Like, I know a lot of rich people who aren't assholes, but God, do I know a lot of rich people who are. It's the power of being in a church most of your life. Also, hey there. Hello, Gaijin Jack. I apologize, you've come to the mad rant section, where I am screaming about labor movements and join your local union and go on strike. Threat them with their wallets. Hold their money hostage. You have the power. You just need the gumption. Point is, hello. I'm talking about how the whole insurance CEO is decided to take a lead-powered expressway to wherever the hell insurance CEOs go. There are people who ain't believers who are rich, who are no different than the churchgoers, but that's my personal experience. Well, the idea, as I was saying, it's the advantage of I grew up in a church, which meant that I saw both sides of it. I saw, because the rich are no less capable of being afraid for their immortal soul than the poor. So you often, in churches, will have a strange melting pot. In Australia, at least. Where you'll have often a lot of strange melting pots where both the poor and the rich come to church. Which means you get to meet both sides of the coin. Probably with a few places where they're actually amicable with each other. But then Then I started to realize that I think American rich people who do go to church don't go to the same churches as poor Americans. But who knows? As a kid, I saw it. Maybe this was decades and decades ago. Maybe very different now. Maybe all the rich people have got their own churches these days. I don't know. It seems like something they do. Like, that person seems a bit poor to be at my church. Which is funny. Point is, I saw a lot of different people when I was young. And also my work, I did charity work, and that also let me see a lot of people. Granted, I saw a lot more poor people when I was doing charity work, but a surprising amount of well-off people who are struggling with addiction. Understandable. Maybe different now. But hey, guys, Jack, what do you think about the Australian government banning social media for anyone under 16? What's your opinion on a social media ban? I said we would stop politics, but I'm kind of curious to see other opinions. What's your opinion on a social media ban for people under 16? Or maybe 16 is not enough. Maybe people under 18. Maybe we should make it like smoking. Or drinking. What's your thoughts? Because I am definitely one of those people who are very much, in my honest opinion, the parent problem or lack thereof. I don't think banning is the answer. Yes, I think their hearts are in the right place, but I suspect it's not the right way to go about it. I think social media is bad, and I don't think children should have access to it. I think if children want to talk to each other, they can use a flip phone. In my humble opinion, they can use a flip phone. Because I just think that's a cool idea, yeah. Well, it allows them to talk to their friends. And it doesn't have an algorithm, because they only talk to the friends they have. Yeah, that's the problem. Well, that's what my nieces and nephews had, at least my sister's kids. It's because they had hand-me-downs from their older siblings, so a lot of my nieces and nephews have, hand-me-downs of various cousins and all that sort of thing. So you had that sort of dynamic where the younger nieces and nephews, who would have normally been in that sort of beginning of the social media era, didn't, because they only got things and technology and access to stuff that their older siblings had already had access to. And a surveillance that would prevent kids from using social media would disappear. That's what I was worried about. Heart's in the right place. I understand they want to do something good, but it's just untenable. You can't do anything. It's an untenable solution to ban it. You just can't do anything. I wish government was the answer to this. But, you know, granted, I am very much in the opinion that I really, 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 really wish these social media companies would just cease to exist. But I am a bit of a hypocrite. I'm technically on a social media right now talking to you all. I'm here talking to you all. I post on Twitter and Blue Sky when I start my streams. Granted, neither of those things reach many people, but that may be because I am myself not a very social media oriented content creator. Pointers. I have a lot of nephews who are actually probably at the age of you guys that should have been growing up with this social media, but they didn't. And I'd like to think if I ever had children, I would have been the same. I would have probably kept them away from it until they were older. You know, when you're an adult, after you've lived your life without it, I think when you're an adult, you're much more capable of. Yeah, you'll have a few times where you get tricked or get silly stuff, but I feel like if you've had a long time where you've had a very sparse connection with it, you feel less dependent on it. But, yeah. Kids did grow up with it, and they should know it more. But they're still kids, that's the problem. They're still kids, that's the problem, you know? They're still kids. And no kid deserves to see what's on Twitter every day. Point is, I wish we could trust individual parents. But the parents are just as bad as them all. Without being monitored, they can still be preyed on. Adults can be tricked, kids can be tricked even easier, old people can be tricked even easier. People could just lie. And you know, like a kid under 12 isn't even going to have a concept of just constant lying. Most kids don't have a concept that this person may just be lying to you. Usually if a kid at that age believes no one's telling the truth, it's usually a sign of something terribly wrong happening. Kids are trusting creatures. Point is, it's sad. It is sad. And I wish government... Sometimes I wish big government was the solution, because how easy that would be. Such an easy answer. Oh, we'll just vote it into law and it will stop happening. It'll just stop happening, you know? I just remember, it stops happening. Yeah, you are the taxpayer. You can tell them to stop. Fight the power. Raise an army of kangaroos. Don't worry. Actually, technically, I'm not a taxpayer right now because I'm currently living in Japan. Forget about that. I live in Japan now, so I'm not actually paying taxes to Australia because of the wonderful world of tax treaties. I don't have to pay 2 taxes. Some people do, which is really sad. I'm currently paying taxes in Japan, and I don't even have representation. God, if only. I don't even get to vote in Japan. I still can vote in Australia, actually. Though I've chosen not to. I've chosen to be paused upon the electoral roll for this time being. I'll have to restart that whole thing when I get back to Australia, but yeah. I can still vote in Australia. I'm not even paying taxes. Now the old tax without representation. That is something I do like about the Americans. That phrase is quite nice. Excuse me. Excuse me. But yes, good fun stuff though. I should probably talk openly about this. This is my old man political rant. You're still Gaijin like all the rest of us. Yes, I am, my friend. Yes, I am, and I'll never be anything different. Those who come to Japan with some sort of strange expectation that they're going to become Japanese are spoiled. That's for sure. Maybe it's just the Gaijin we met along the way. The real fun is the friends we made along the way. Who knows? Who knows what the world will look like? Who knows what the world will look like? Anyway. I should probably stop ranting about politics. Other than that, how have you been so far? I have been well. Well, that's actually a lie. That's a lie. I shouldn't lie to you. So, there's a reason I'm eating pocket bread. No, I'm doing well. I've done a few things in the last month. I got possessed. This is a ranting stream, yes. Well, that is essentially what this stream is called. It is called The Cacophony of Geriatric Sounds Out Again. So, yes, I suppose I shouldn't have expected anything different. This is what I do. Apparently, it's quite popular. Maybe I should make myself into an anime girl. I might actually make a... Everyone loves when an anime girl talks a lot. She yaps. She's yapping. Oh. When an anime girl does this, she's yapping, and it's so charming and fun. But when I do it, no one says anything. I want praises too. I want people to tell me I'm cute and yapping and have the equivalent worth to society as a anime girl with hair that is not white. Yes. Why don't I get the praises? What about me? What's that old song? What about me? It isn't fair. I've had enough and I want much. Sorry. What about me? It isn't fair. That's like 2004, wasn't it? Is that the one I'm thinking of? Was that the one I'm thinking of? Like the 2000... Who was that by again? Point is, beside the point. I've been well. Get back to that. You guys can talk about that later. I forgot who that is from. My nephew, nieces and nephews, love to sing that song all the time. The moment something went the wrong way, they were like, what about me? They were just... I grew up in a musical, I sometimes wonder. Even as a kid, we used to randomly sing. It's funny, I used to randomly sing songs, but I couldn't tell you a name of them to live. What about you? What about me? That's a good question. I find it funny that you always make fun of me for not knowing band names, but it's true, because I would just sing songs, and the same with my nieces and nephews. A lot of them just sung songs that they had heard somewhere. They didn't know the name of the song, who wrote it, where it was from, what year it was bloody released in. Same with me, I couldn't tell you half the songs I used to sing when I was a younger man. Just I sung them. Grew up in a musical, doesn't know any songs. That's the thing. It's so ubiquitous, they're so everywhere, that they're not really something you think about. I keep getting distracted. I've sued now for stealing the likeness. Oh, the irony! It is. I probably know more about actual musicals than I know a fair amount of the songs in the musicals, like The Sound of Music, but not actually musicians of the day. The thing is, I probably recognize their music the moment you showed me any of it, but when you're on the radio, when you listen to stuff on the radio, often you don't really hear, oh, this is something from the Greenskins Down Under. This is their new album song. And you don't usually get that when you listen to the radio. You just listen to the radio. Actually, have you any sales with the French and you play them showing Japanese as Japanese inspired? It's obvious they stole it. I know, right? I insult the French. And somebody's watching my scripts. They just saw me one day and they were like, that That guy's the perfect guy. White suit and all. White suit, grey hair, handsome appearance, extremely capable. Head of an international organization of UN-led super spies or whatever the hell he was. Damn bastards. Stealing my existence. How dare they? But otherwise, other than my slow and smouldering, burning hatred, the smouldering hatred for Namgai Bandai from stealing my face, no, I've been well. I've got a car now, Gaijin Jack. I've got a car. The car has the ability to connect to the TV networks in my car, so my navigation system can not only tell me where to go, it can also become a major distraction. Just like I always wanted my navigation system to do. It can be a major distraction. Beautiful stuff. Otherwise, it's quite good. I've got a little car now. Little 12-year-old, low mileage K car. It's got the engine strength of a particularly motivated horse. It's probably got about 1.5 horsepower. Distractingly cool, I know, right? Beautiful place, a beautiful thing. So a lot of the weekends I haven't been streaming as much. One, because I've been struggling to decide on a new game to play, because I feel like streaming means playing games, and I haven't been able to find a game to play recently. But I also have been spending a lot of my weekends going on drives, and in fact, after this stream, I'm going on another drive to a museum in the mountains somewhere. It's a weird natural history museum that's nestled in the mountains. An hour and a bit from me. They love putting museums in the mountains in Japan, I've noticed. As I've driven around various places, because I drove across the country a few weeks back to visit a friend on the other side of the country. And I couldn't stream that weekend, rather obviously. And I saw so many things when I was looking at Google Maps of like, a bug museum in the mountains of Nagano, or a open-air museum in the mountains of Gunma. Just in the middle of nowhere close to anything. It's crazy. I'm going to another one, because my friend who wants to go there, a friend of mine wants to go there, is sort of interested in the topic the museum covers. Are there any starters you're into? I posted in the games section, yeah. We open Discord again. Yeah, that's the thing. I just not feeling like any games recently, and also it doesn't help that soon I'll be going on a trip for like 3 weeks, so I won't be able to stream, well, 2 weeks, but I have another weekend after that that's going to be taken up by a hiking trip, so I may not be able to stream, and I didn't want to start a game. This week I realized I don't want to start a new game, when I'm not gonna, like, I've had next week is my last stream for the year. So, I need to put a reminder on so we can do our sort of games of the year. So we should do our wrap-up of the year next week, then. That's the stream for next week. Alright, easy, we got it sorted. Stream for next week. Got a hot date coming up, of course. Hot date with a mountain. And a wild man from Tennessee. Actually, he's not from Tennessee. Where was he from? Wisconsin. A wild man from Wisconsin. Who used to hunt his own meat. And never had to pay for any meat because he'd just hunt deer. Truly. The hottest of dates. I suppose for some people it would be. Game suggestions. There it is. Oh, the whole Nightmare card. That could be funny. Play some Nightmare card. Would be even funnier is getting an old PlayStation 2 and playing... Why not emulate? This is true. This is true. There are deer, but mostly you'd be hunting boar here. You can hunt boar and bear. They are allowed. You are allowed to do it. I believe you need a license, but you can do it. There are boars in the mountains near where I am. Don't think there are any bears. There are boars. Or maybe there are bears. I've not seen a bear. I have seen a boar. They are scary, aren't they? They are so big. Oh, you get beaten up by Nintendo. Yeah. Emulate some things. Could be. Could be. Get a PlayStation 2 and play some Crash Bandicoot. A Torture House. Gunbreaker. I'm just looking through the stuff that's been suggested. Fallout 2. That'd be a classic. Monster Hunter Wilds. Crash Winters. I remember the days of helping my nieces and nephews finish some levels in Crash Bandicoot Team Racing, Crash Team Racing. There were some really nightmare levels that these kids just couldn't do because they didn't have adult reaction times, and I don't know why why they thought I'd be any better at it, but I did do it. I did do it. All Winters 2. Sometimes I wonder if I shouldn't just play Fallout for New Vegas, you know? I've never really been able to finish New Vegas. Maybe I should sit down and try and play it. Maybe that'd be our next big game. Play New Vegas. People love New Vegas. Should play Fallout 2. You should play Fallout 2? Yeah, maybe you should. I think I should play one of the 3D ones. Because I have never, and I hate to admit this, I know a lot about Fallout games through cultural osmosis, but I have never been able to finish a Fallout game. I have to. I hate to admit. I'm just not much of a post-apocalypse. It's not really my vibe, so to speak. Not really my vibe. I'm more of a fantasy fella, I suppose. I could play Skyrim, Oblivion, Morrowind. Barely could play Morrowind, frankly. So you're fine, love. But everyone says it's so good. I wish. I could like those games. I do. I wish. Ah, it's terrible, isn't it? I haven't been able to play it because of the glitches. I've actually completely played through Oblivion, I believe. I played all the DLC too. I played through Oblivion, then played through the Shivering Isles, and I played through... Who has a character? By the way, Sheogorath looks a lot like me. I should be Sheogorath. Shame I don't have his voice. You know, Sheogorath, Daedric, Prince of Madness. At your service. I can't do his weird Scottish-Irish accent. I wish I could have his accent. Oh, I wish I could be as fun as Sheogorath. We should do like... I feel like if I were to do one of the Elder Scrolls games again, I should do a challenge run. If we're going to stream it. We gotta do something interesting with them. Like playing all three... Stole from Sheogorath. Yeah, I stole from Sheogorath. Plot twist. I am Sheogorath. You never knew this, but I am Sheogorath. That's me. Well, actually, that's a lie. I'm cousins with Sheogorath. Sheogorath's my cousin on my father's side. I'm telling Lo, oh, you can't do anything. I'm invincible. You can't take me out. Yes, if I were to play the Elder Scrolls games, I'd probably do a challenge run of some kind. I feel like there's something that you could do in all three games. Like maybe do a Morrowind playthrough, a Oblivion playthrough, and a Skyrim playthrough, all based on the same concept. Who knows what that concept would be. I don't think I would do a whole... Oh well... A whole playthrough might be tough. But if you do like a challenge, who knows? I feel like I'd have to challenge myself to enjoy myself in those games. Do something weird, silly. Who knows? It'd be nice to play them again though. Certainly would. Because, hilarious stuff. I feel like though actually recently I have been having a great time watching people play through Morrowind. I've been watching a lot of Morrowind playthroughs. which is why I've been thinking about challenge runs, because I've been watching a heap of challenge runs through Morrowind, and I find them very amusing. They are very amusing. It has reminded me all of Morrowind was a strange game, and Daggerfall was even stranger. I feel like the further you go back, the overwhelmingly more complicated games get. Like, my god. Going back to Daggerfall, I forgot the absolute nightmare that game was. Things just didn't happen sometimes. Or did happen. There was practically no failing the main quest, because you could always figure out another weird side path to the same quest. Also, Daggerfall was huge. Daggerfall was massive. Oh, excuse me. Daggerfall was a massive game. Then you've got a Morrowind, which was a pretty big game, a very weird game. I do like the whole... how you just miss most of the time in Morrowind, always very funny. Just miss all of the time, because of all the weird calculations and dice rolls. Like playing D&D. Oh, ironically, going back in time is what I'm playing now. Tempted to play Daggerfall? It is a game. It is a game, that's for sure. Very strange. Very political, weirdly. Meaning, like you feel like you're, half the time, you're just dealing with, like, a fantasy book politics. And you're going doing jobs for all these people, and you could work for the Worm King, which seems like a weird person. It is a game that did come out, and it did have naked ladies in it, if I remember correctly. Like one sprite of a naked lady. Which is very surprising when you're not expecting it to be there. But then you forget that this era is the era of, 3D games like Duke Nukem. So, if a developer could sneak some, a little bit of sexiness into it, is always a bit of a selling point in the word of mouth game. The mods infrastructure, it needs mods to exist, frankly. I don't think it works out of the box anymore. There's a Unity version, actually. No, recently they did come out with Daggerfall Unity, if I remember correctly. That may not need any mods. And considering it's built again, they've rebuilt it. No, I think you may be fine. I think they may have rebuilt it to... Okay, so you do need a free copy. You do need to get a copy of Daggerfall DOS. But Daggerfall Unity should be able to... You still need to download the DOS version from Steam, but it is free. At least that's what they're saying on their site. And there are mods that you can do for Daggerfall that change things. But I believe the Unity one may be able to be used on controller. So you might be fine. You might be able to use it on controller. May be able to use it on controller. Yeah, fun stuff. Fascinating stuff. Could be an idea. The thing is, when is... So, February next year, February 28th, is when Monster Hunter Wilds comes out. So no matter what we're doing at that time, the moment Wilds comes out, you better believe I am playing the ever-loving goddamn crap out of that. We got it? Thanks, my mistake. Thank you, Eric. No problem. It's because, again, I've been watching a lot of Elder Scrolls and generally RPG challenge runs. Shout out to the creator, Just Background Noise. He does some very fun Elder Scrolls playthroughs. If you want to watch somebody play Elder Scrolls in various weird ways, then Just Background Noise is a great little guy to watch, especially to have him on the background, as his name would suggest. What a great YouTube channel name, by the way. Just Background Noise. Oh, sorry. But yes, great channel. I recommend him. He has so many nice challenge runs. Mostly, recently, he used to be like over a year ago, he was a RuneScape streamer. But then suddenly he's done Morrowind. He's just been playing Morrowind for the last year. And I've been watching all of his Morrowind and Oblivion playthroughs. They're just very fun. Another one was, who was the other guy? Norbert? 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 Norbert's a, no, Norbert. Norbert? Yeah, a weird name like Norbert, something or other. Yeah, Norbert. He also has challenge runs of sort of a lot more different games, and I quite enjoy his as well. So I've been watching a lot of those things. Just struggling with starting a game. Yes, without knowing what to do, it is quite difficult to get into that game. Oh yes, that's right, Norbert's the guy who did Can You Do the Metal Gear... So he's very popular, so he's got a lot of very popular screens. Norbert's not a small creator, he's got like 500,000. But he did Can You Beat the Metal Gear Saga Before the End Dies of Old Age? That's a great concept for a challenge run. Can you complete every Metal Gear game that exists before the end dies of old age in Metal Gear Solid 3? So good. What a great idea. So essentially, he got up to the end in Metal Gear Solid 3, and then stopped and paused the game there, essentially, and then just went and played all the other games for 2 weeks straight. It's like a 4-hour video, it's very long. Fun times, though. But yes, it is interesting. That's background noise made it so I probably could start a Morrowind playthrough with some success. Because now I've been reminded of all the sort of things you need to do, and how the leveling up system works. Again. Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. I'll have to say that maybe that's tempting. But that'll only last until, of course, we get to Monster Hunter Wilds, February 28th. God, it's only like 3 months away now. My God. Oh, it's 2.5 months away now. God, it's so close. I'm so excited. Monster Hunter. My baby. Oh, speaking of Monster Hunter, this may mean nothing to any of you, but they've actually changed a lot since the beta we played. You know, in the beta, I mentioned that my favorite weapon, the insect glaive, in the beta, was really hard to play, especially with all the new mechanics. The beta, Monster Hunter Wilds beta, insect glaive really just felt really awkward to play, where if I was trying to hold all the buttons, I'd end up with like a claw hand, and my hand would cramp, and it was painful, and not very fun. And they also removed bouncing in the sky like a crazy person. The stripper pole weapon, yes. Of course. But they actually have apparently started after, and I put my, I did after the streams, the beta streams, I did do the beta feedback, and I did mention that I was like, I like a lot of the weapons, some of them are really good, some of them are XYZ, and I said there's a few things. I came across a glitch like XYZ. I came across that pathing glitch with one of the monsters, where the monster was stuck in a loop. We did go a couple of visual glitches. Otherwise, I like the game, and then I mentioned I did do a bit of a paragraph on Insect Glaive, talking about how it was really awkward to use the controls, that without the bounce, it was actually quite difficult to have enough time in the air to charge the charge attack in the air, so you pretty much never used it, and whole thing. But apparently and I did see a lot of Insect Glaives complaining about the same things. Apparently, they're actually reworking a few weapons. So, the Insect Glaive, the Charge Blade, and the Lance. Even though I thought the Lance felt alright. The Lance felt alright to me, but apparently, to Lance mains, it was a bit weird. A bit funky. Not good enough. But, I think there's a fourth weapon. I can't remember what the fourth weapon is. But I know those three are getting reworked. So, right now, there was a new build that was shown off last week for Monster Hunter Wilds, where they've actually re-added the Insect Glaive bounce. So now I can do the bounce in the air thing, which means it will give us more time in the air to do the sort of charge attack. They're also apparently rebalancing the controls. They're changing the controls of the Insect Glaive, so it's not as awkward or sort of terrible to use. Which is nice. I like when a developer is willing to go through a lot of work to fix something that the community sees as broken. Especially with a game so based around your main weapon, you know? The Monster Hunter series has always been about your weapon, the weapon you play. Are you gonna be a stripper? Are you gonna be a man with a sword and a shield? Are you gonna be a DJ with a giant saxophone? Are you gonna be a violent DJ? A stripper that specializes in slashes and penetrative trauma. I know the guns are getting... Oh, another thing that's getting a rework was hit stun. Now, I didn't notice the hit stun. I've never been really a person who cares that much about hit stun, but some of the weapons really like hit stun. And apparently, they had removed the hit stun because people didn't like it in World. Strip people of their lives. I'm a stripper who specializes in blunt force trauma to the head. I strip people of their lives. But no, that sounds like an 80s, 90s, like, D movie. Not even a C movie or B movie. It sounds like a D movie, which is just an excuse for some guy with a bit of money to pay a whole heap of girls to wear skimpy outfits. That's like, you know, it's like vigilante stripper or something like that it would be called. And the subtitle would be like, she strips people of their lives. She strips criminals of their lives. Or some stupid subtitle of that. No, that's what that sounds like. It sounds like a subtitle to an old movie where a guy just wanted to pay a heap of women to scantily dress and fight people. And get hit by people and suggestively moan. I've heard of it all. A vigilante stripper. I've heard of it all. That sounds like a movie already. Let's be honest. Nope. There is no movie, but it sounds like it should have been a movie. Or if it is, it's not at least easily found on the internet. Hilarious. Anyway, point is, they're reworking a lot of weapons. They've re-added hit stun to the weapons, so they slow down slightly when you hit things. With the heavier weapons, it's more pronounced. But apparently they had removed it because people complained about it. In the original Monster Hunter world. That sounds like it was a graphic novel that took from the book. Does sort of sound like a graphic novel, doesn't it? Vigilante stripper. Like one of those edgy comics back in the day. Anyway, point is, they've added a lot of things. They re-added hit stun after that because the guy was like, I thought people hated it. From the feedback we had gotten, like, in earlier games of the series, we had gotten told that it was too much. But they overcorrected, and now they're putting it back into it. Maybe they'll overcorrect and then probably return halfway. Maybe not fully put it back. But I don't know what they're going to do to Lance or Switch Axe. Or, honestly, I don't know how they're going to fix Insect Glaive. It's so awkward. There's too many buttons. The best solution would be to make one of them a toggle rather than a hold. But, who knows? Anyway. It'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see what they do and how they've changed it. Maybe I should play Insect Glaive, because I want to see how it changed. I feel like I have to do a new weapon every time I play a Monster Hunter game. We'll see. Who knows? I don't know. We'll be playing a lot of Monster Hunter, though. Otherwise, I've still been playing more Warframe. You know, I'm starting to think, actually, and this came to me a few nights ago. I'm starting to worry that why I haven't been feeling like many games is because I've been playing games every day. Because I've been playing games like Warframe, which are more of a consistent, everyday, sort of short time, everyday sort of game. But I've sort of been, like, ruining my mind towards video games. I'm starting to wonder if it's Warframe's fault. I know that Uber commented on one of my previous streams that he's like, Warframe. Crack. Let's go. I need to go find that comment. Uber didn't catch the stream, but one of the viewers, he posted a comment on the previous Warframe stream and said, Warframe, my old crack, or something like that. My old crack addiction. And I was like, oh. Well, the thing is, it's a good game, and I have been probably playing a bit too much of it. I'm wondering if that's why I'm having struggle actually getting into another game. Ah, yes. Oh, Warframe, my sweet, sweet crack addiction. It is a very good game. A very fun game to play, at least. And I worry. That's maybe why I'm struggling deciding on a game. It's hard to say, really. Maybe I'm just in a flat mojo. Maybe I need just a trip off. I don't know. But I have been playing a bit too much Warframe. Better believe. Actually, I don't think I'll be playing any today. No. But yes, I wonder if that's it. Anyway. I'll figure it out. Who knows? Who knows? I'll probably play it for another month or so. And then I'll stop playing again for another 2 years. That's what happened last time. I played it a lot. Then I stopped playing it for like 3 years. And then I'll play it a lot again. Another couple of years. Who knows? We'll see. Otherwise, I think we will finish there for today. Unfortunately, I do need to... Fatal Frame. That's actually a good series. I need to put that on the list before I finish up. I was about to finish up, but... That's a good game. Very good. Fatal Frame. I do want to play Fatal Frame. Okay. Maybe we'll play them all in Japanese. And we could together explore the wonderful world of not understanding a goddamn word anyone's saying. Fatal Frame. I'll have to figure out how to play them. Immersion, yes. We'll do some immersion learning together. But yes. Currently our stream ideas are Dark Messiah, Might and Magic, Fatal Frame, Uncharted 3 and 4, Bow, Path of the Teal Lotus, Deus Ex Next Game, Alien Isolation, because I have that game, I own it, don't know when I owned it, but I own it now, Hollow Knight Pantheons, Puppet Combo Games, Lethal Company, Dad of Boy DLC, Alan Wake 2, Yakuza 2, and Pokemon Infinite Fusions. Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, oh yes, because I want to play a game until I literally die of old age. I've played Baldur's Gate 3 to about halfway through Act 2, and it was taking so goddamn long to play. I didn't make myself in it, though. I look quite handsome. I was a paladin. I seem like a sort of paladin fella. Don't I? What is it? What is the... If I were to be suddenly created as a D&D character, what... Out of all the things and how I act, what kind of what class am I in D&D, okay? What D&D class am I? Eh? I'm a generally nice guy. I follow the rules mostly. You think a wizard? Yeah, that seems kind of... I do seem sort of wizardy, don't I? I do like reading books. I do like absorbing information like a geriatric sponge. I could see that wizard, yeah. Why? Winter's the White, Winter's the Fool. A druid, maybe? Yeah, I could see druid as well. What druid classes are there? Let's just limit it to the Baldur's Gate stuff. Baldur's Gate 3 classes. A bard? Well, yeah, technically my job right now is very bardy, I suppose. Bard, druid, and a wizard. What kind of wizard can I be? Let's go to druids first, actually. What circles have I got? Circle of the land, circle of the moon, and the circle of the spores. I'm not much of a fungus guy. I feel like I'd be a circle of the land. Quote from Saruman, probably. Winter's the White, Winter's the Fool. Ah, what about Saruman the Stupid? Saruman the Silly. Saruman the Stinky. Sorry. That just reminded me of a video my nephew showed me. College of Law is one of the subclasses. Saruman, Winter Moon, the sus. What do you mean? I'm not suspicious. I just have bread in my top pocket and wear sunglasses. Speaking of, I actually bought a new pair of sunglasses because for some reason, since I came to Japan, I have not been able to not lose my sunglasses. I have lost a second pair of sunglasses. Granted, they were cheap, so it's fine, but God, I've lost so many sunglasses. And then I found in the second-hand store a nice pair of Ray-Bans for $40. A nice pair of Ray-Ban aviators like I like to wear because I am nothing if not a character from a video game. I wear a large, broad brim hat and aviator sunglasses. I look like a North Queensland politician. Outside of Scream. College of Valor, College of Law. College of Law sounds like what I'd do. College of Law Bard, College of Circle of Land Druid, and what are the wizards? What kind of wizard would I be? Aberration? Abjuration? Protect themselves and arm, reduce mana damage, subject cross, so there's like shields and stuff like that. Evocation. Specialize in value magic that could protect the allies from evocation spell effects. Necromancer, yeah, Necromancer. Saruman the Wrinkly. Oh, I don't think I'm much of an anchor, man. Conjuration? Enchantment? Divination? I can do divination. Illusion? Transmutation? Saruman the Thick. No. I think we got a bit farther, mate. We need to go take a few steps back. Aberration. Ward. What are aberration spells? Blade Ward, Resistance, Armor, Mage Armor, Protection, Sanctuary, Shield, Faith, Aid, Arcane Lock, Pass Without Trace. I thought aberrations were interesting. Protect, Beacon of Hope, Counterspell, Glyph, Protection, Move, Banishment. Yeah, this all seems to be protection. Globe of Invulnerability. Smite, Protection. There's a few damaging spells. Interesting. Alright. He's a protector. I could sort of see that I fit that. Evocation is your classic fire. I cast Fireball. Fireball. It's all damage and stuff. Okay. Conjuration, I assume, creates creatures. And things. Like hands or flying swords. Yeah. Alright. What's divination do? I like seeing the future. I feel like I could be a pretty good diviner. I do like making weird, sagely quotes and telling people what they should do. So maybe I am a divination wizard. Interesting. Anyway. I should finish up, because I do need to go fuel up my car and divine a dual class with a fighter. Oh yeah? A fighter who can see the future? No, I'd be a bard who can see the future. That's what I'd be. Just completely terrible multi-class. Bard and divination wizard. College of Law Bard and divination wizard. Anyway, we should finish there. I do need to go fuel up the car and head out. That's a funny class. Hey, you know, I'm nothing if not creative. Anyway, we'll finish there, and as always, thank you all for the chat. It's been good. I think next week we shall do, because it'll be the last stream that I can do this year. Oh, yes. Oh, sorry. Goodness, I'm sorry, J. Hank. There you go. We're having the nighttime background. We're going to go out with the nighttime background. Sorry. The end of the stream. But we're having our Sunday afternoon chat, which is why we're listening to Sunday afternoon as our background music. But as always, good job, everyone. I think, of course, keeping tradition. And as with tradition, this next week will be our last stream of the year. So I think we might do our yearly wrap-up stream, you know? We will spend our time wrapping up certain things. We'll talk about stuff. I'll talk about how long until I can actually stream again. I'll mention a few things. We'll talk about that, this, that, and the other. And we will probably do our tier list for this year. We will do our tier list this time. At the correct time. At the end of the year. Yes, we will do the tier list next stream, I believe. Saturday or Sunday, it really depends on when I'm free. I'd like to drink with the tier list streams, but I understand a lot of people are more available in the morning than in the afternoon, so we'll figure that out. Anyway, next week will be a tier list stream. And we will look back on the year. Oh, the VGAs! When are they? VGA. The VGAs? The 12th of this month. Oh my goodness. That's 4 days from now. I'll be working, I think, won't I? I think I'll be working. It's a Friday, but it depends when on Friday. They haven't JST? Ah, unfortunate. We can look back on the VGAs, certainly. But I'll be at work. So we won't be able to watch them. As they're happening, no. That's a shame. Unfortunately, I will be working. But that night, I could do a stream the night of the VGAs and sort of watch through them. Watch a highlight reel or something like that. But I won't be able to watch it live, unfortunately. Maybe we'll fold the tier list stream into the same thing. We'll sit and actually go back and watch a lot of the things. You can recommend some trailers for me to watch. Maybe I'll set up 2 streams. Who knows? But, yes. Do a bit of VGA talk. Maybe do the tier list for the stream and then do a tier list of most anticipated games, perhaps, of the next coming year. Might be a good idea. Good conception. I'll put it on the list. Tier list for 2024. Wow, 2025 next year. Who would have thought I'd get this far? Most probably GTA 3 and most. Alright. But we'll leave it there for now. Alright. But that'll be next week. I'll figure out what to do with the VGAs, but unfortunately I can't watch them because I'm working. Shame. Shame, a shame, a shame. Otherwise, I have to finish it there. Thank you all for watching, as always. GTA 6 will probably win, but as always, I will see you next time. And as always, good night. Sleep tight. And don't let the cacophony of geriatrics bite. As they will be very noisy, but as long as you don't annoy them, they will only be noisy, and they will not bite you. Or maybe they will. Who knows? One of them has got a really tiny mouth. He might nibble on you. I'll see you all later anyway. Good night.